Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to smoke ribs, well, short ribs, the easiest way possible. You're going to need a couple of things to prepare these ribs for the night before. Something to cut it out with, a container to put it in, your rub and some foil paper. Make sure you have those ready. If you notice, these ribs are pretty thick from the bone to the top part of the meat. It's over about an inch, inch and a half, way more than that. So it's a good sign. And if you notice, there's also marbling there, so that's pretty good. So the first step in this process is to actually season them, and you're gonna season them the night before. I mean, you can do it a couple of hours before, but if you have the time, the night before is the best, so you can let those seasonings really get into that meat. You want to apply your rub of choice liberally so that it covers the entire piece of meat. Once that's done, use foil paper to cover the top part of your container, and then this baby's gonna sleep overnight in my refrigerator. See you guys in the morning when we're ready to smoke this baby. So now it's the next day. I'm getting my smoker prepared. For this smoke, I'm using the Masterbuilt electric smokers. This is one of the easiest smokers to use. It's very user friendly, and if you're thinking of getting into smoking, this is probably the one I would recommend you start off with. I'm gonna preheat my smoker 250. You wanna make sure you add water to that water pan. And there she is. After sleeping overnight in the refrigerator, the ribs are ready to get smoked. And one last thing, you're gonna need your chips. I'm using post oak for this smoke. I find that post oak gives you a nice little flavor to the meat, but it doesn't overpower it. We're gonna add the first round of chips to the smoker to get it going. Now, depending on how high you're going to be smoking, some people like to smoke at a higher temperature, 275. These chips will last anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes. So if you're doing 250, mine were needing to be refilled every 45 minutes. But if you're going to be going a little bit higher, you might want to check on them a little bit sooner. And there you see the smoke is starting to come out, which is nice, always nice. Now that you have your ribs in the smoker, you're going to want to wait about at least 4 hours before you go on to the next step. You want to be checking on it periodically, probably every time you go in and you add more chips. I would look at the color, I would look at the reseeding of the meat to see where it's at. If you like where you're at, then we can go to the next step. If not, give it at least 4 hours is a good rule of thumb. Just keep on adding chips every 35 to 45 minutes so you get that smoke continuously going. So about 3 hours into it, 2.5, 3 hours into it, we're starting to see a little bit more of a change. More receding. You see those bones sticking out? That's a really good sign. Keep on going. Let's hit the 4 hour mark on this baby. While my ribs are smoking the first 4 hours, I want to create a little concoction that I'm going to add to it in the following step. What I like to use is Sweet Baby Ray's and some apple juice. You can use any barbecue sauce that you like. The ratio here should be 1-to-1, but it depends on how thick you want it. The thicker you want it, more barbecue sauce, the more liquidy you want it, you would want to go with more apple juice. Once you have this one done, just go ahead and set it aside. So after about 4 hours, these are the results. We're not done yet. We're gonna need to go to the next step in the process. You want to grab yourself some foil paper, lay the meat in the center of the foil paper, add your mixture of barbecue sauce and apple juice to it. Wrap it up nice and tight. I always use a second piece of foil paper just to make sure that my marinade does not escape. And I just wrap it the opposite way. Once you got all that done, go ahead and stick it back into the smoker. We're going to continue smoking this baby at 250. And I know that the Masterbuilt electric smoker has its very own meat probe. But I like to use my go-to meat probe that I got from Thermoworks. So as you can see, after installing the meat probe from Thermoworks, it's at 163 degrees. That was about after 4 hours of smoking at 250. But I really like Thermoworks for the reason that I can go, I need to run errands. I know it's going to take me a couple more hours. The Thermoworks, I can check on it on my phone, and it is connected to my Wi-Fi, so I can get readings even if I'm in town. So that's really the main reason that I like to use Thermoworks. And if you like that feature and in your meat probes, go ahead and click on the links below. I do have affiliate links with Thermoworks. and get your very own. And if you do that, you do also help out my channel. So now there's really no time frame. We're at 163 right now. I want to hit 210 degrees internal temp. This might take an hour, this might take 2, this might take 3. It all depends. So just keep an eye on it. At this point, you really don't need to be adding any more chips to your smoker because it is already wrapped. So it's not going to be accepting any more smoke. After a couple of hours, I hit my 210, my target temperature that I wanted. So now is the next step in the process. We're going to pull these babies out, put them in a cooler, and let them rest minimum of 2 hours. You can go a little bit longer, but I would say minimum 2 hours to allow the meats to relax and to really soften up. After your 2 hours of rest, it's time to dig in. You want to unwrap the ribs. So these are the results after 2 hours of resting. Check out all that reseeding on both ends. You're getting it. Let's go ahead and slice this baby up and see what it looks like. So when you're cutting these ribs, you want to go in between the bone. Just go nice and straight down. So you want to keep as much meat on the bones as possible. And there you have it. That's the edge. Check out the color. Check out the juices on the inside. Very moist. Ready to eat. And does it fall off the bone? There was a tiny little bit of tug, which is what you always want. You don't want it to just fall off like if you put them in an oven. So yeah, these are perfect. You can always serve it up in bone for the wow factor, or you can slice it up this way and divide a little bit more. Very juicy, very tender. Just to recap, we seasoned these ribs the night before. We stuck them in the smoker for 4 hours at 250 degrees. We pulled them out, wrapped them in foil, added that marinade, stuck them back into the smoker for another 2 hours until it reached the internal temperature of 210. Let them rest for at least 2 hours, and then you slice them up and eat them. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.